Welcome to Design is Marketing, a podcast for product teams and marketers who want to learn what works and what doesn't when it comes to engaging and converting users. This podcast is brought to you by Sparkr, the design agency. If you want to know more about it, check sparkr.co. Hello, everybody, to a new episode of Design is Marketing. I'm your host, Federico, and my guest today will be Elisabet Innala. Elisabet has a great experience as marketing professional, and today she's the head of marketing of Planacy. With her, we're going to discuss about how to nail the redesign of a B2B SaaS website. Stick till the end, because Elisabet is going to give you her top 5 things that you need to have on your website in order to generate better conversion. And if you like this show, don't forget to like or subscribe on any platform on which you're consuming it. So, Elisabet, I'm very happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's really a pleasure. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your experience?
Yeah, sure. So, as you said, my name is Elisabet, and I'm from a small town in the north of Sweden. So I work now in Stockholm. I've been working in marketing for about 10 years now, and for about 7 of those years, I've been working in the B2B tech industry. So that's really close to my heart.
Nice. And well, when it comes to B2B, right, obviously the website is really one of the most central pieces of
Yes,
marketing that you
definitely.
have. So I know that you spent a lot of time redesigning the website and redoing the whole website of Planacy. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I've been at Planacy now for about 5 years. The first thing I wanted to do when I started here was to redo the entire website. I was not happy with the original website we had back then. It was just very messy and didn't really make sense, and it was hard to find certain things that I thought our audience wanted to find. So we hired a web agency and we started going over all of the current pages that we had, our current website, and what we wanted to keep. And then we boiled everything down to its core and scaled down the website a lot to make our offering more clear and concise and to make it much more easy to find what you were looking for.
Nice. What I would like to focus on, say, before, say, the execution part, what makes me very interested, right, is the whole strategy behind it. When do you think, as a marketer, that it's the right moment to look into website redesign? And also, what are, say, things that you can gain by doing it, and vice versa, things that you miss out if you don't do status quo?
Like redesigning everything from scratch. I would say that is a much bigger thing. You shouldn't do it too often. I mean, as marketers and people working in communication, we often get really tired and sick of our own messaging and our own designs because we see them all the time. So it's easy to forget that our audience and people we're trying to reach, they have not seen it a million times. So we're trying to imprint our brand on them. So it's important to also, I mean, you shouldn't be afraid to make changes, but it should definitely be something you put a lot of thought into before you do it. Yeah.
Okay, got it. But are there things that you can share that are good indicators that's the right moment for a company to consider the redesign of a website? Or would you say it's more quantitative data, or is it something more qualitative?
It could be both. I mean, if you see high clicks on your ads and low conversions, there could be something wrong with your landing pages or your website. Your audience isn't finding what they need in order to make that conversion, take that step. So that is definitely a hard sign. But then, I mean, if you've had your website for a long time and you work in a tech company like I do, you want to feel modern and fresh. So you want to be up to date on your website. So you don't want to have an old looking website. You want it to be appealing, of course.
Okay. So sometimes there is very good quantitative reasons. So you notice that, for example, certain pages or maybe the website overall doesn't have the conversion that you want, but sometimes it's just something qualitative that, based on your experience, you know that you could have a much better or modern website than what you have.
It could also be if you have like an important keyword and you're not ranking on that keyword, but you have a page for it and everything. You need to look at that page and look at what you can improve on that page, like add video, images, more text, better text, or maybe like switch things around, buttons or call to actions to improve the ranking. And
yeah, well, I would argue you don't need a full-blown website redesign, right? Just to rank
no.
for
I think
a keyword.
your website should be a living thing that you constantly work on. You shouldn't just do it like once every 3 years. Like major changes, like redesigning the entire website, that could be a couple of years in between. But just updating certain pages or reconsidering, is this the best layout for us or for our audience? That you should do that all the time.
Okay. Well, I remember a few months ago, I've been doing some market research with head of marketers or marketing managers. What I say, the data that I got from that, I interviewed roughly, I think, 35, 40 of them, is that usually they redo the website of their company once every 2 years. That's the average. Is it something that resonates with you?
Yeah. I mean, I've been here for 5 years, like I said, and we did a major switch when I started, and then we have made bigger adjustments about 2 years after that.
Okay.
2 years, yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, so let's say that so you have decided that it's time to do the website redesign, the redesign of your website,
Yes.
for all the reasons that you mentioned. What's the next logical step?
Well, always just think about your audience, who you're trying to reach. What do they want to know? Like, I think there's 3 main questions you want to answer on your website. Like, what is this? Who is it for? And why do I need it? And that needs to be super clear. You don't need to have too much information on your website. It just makes the visitor confused. Like, where do I go? What do I look for?
Got it.
So just boil everything down to its core. What is this? Who is it for? Why do they need it?
Oh, got it. I really like the simplicity, say, of how you phrase this. I think it's very helpful, right? Whenever any of us from the audience will have to redesign the website or reconsider what are the important things to plan for. And can you share like some practical experience from what you have seen from your work?
From redesigning the website?
Yeah, like for example, how these 3 questions were not aligned with, for example, the website that you had.
Yeah, I mean, we did answer those questions on our old website as well, but it wasn't clear. It wasn't easy to find. I mean, it should be on the top of your first landing page. There, you should answer all of those questions there simply and quickly. Because you only get like a millisecond before someone just leaves your page and goes to your competitor or someone else. So it needs to be super clear and super concise.
Yeah, right. Do you have any data, by the way, on how much people tend to stick on a page? It's very different across industries, websites as well, but any kind of benchmark?
Like the bounce rate?
Yeah, but like the average amount of seconds that people stay on a page, like what can you expect?
I don't have that data right now, but I think it used to be about 3 seconds, but I think it's less now, actually.
Yeah, right.
As I heard, yeah.
Yeah, I have similar data. I've heard like 3 to 7 seconds.
Yeah.
It might be, and also less than 50% of people typically would scroll after the first thing that they see.
Yeah.
So one more reason to have something, say the things that matter really above the folder and above the fold, and also call to actions. For example, there's a lot of websites that don't have the call to action immediately visible, right? Yeah, and another thing that made me curious is like, so to check the how well these questions are answered. Have you also done some qualitative research, like really ask your end users, like, what do you think of the website we have, or what do you think of the website that we have redesigned?
No, we haven't done that. I would love
No.
to,
Okay.
but it's hard enough to get our target group to answer surveys or give reviews on our product. So
Okay.
we're focusing on getting them to do that first.
That could
So
be tricky.
yeah,
Yeah.
our target group is super busy. I mean, they're business controllers and CFOs, and they don't really have much time for anything else.
Okay. Because I remember that's something that I have done a couple of years ago. I actually promised myself that I should do it more often.
Mm,
But that's something that I've done a couple of years ago. So I've interviewed around 6 people. I've
mm.
asked them if they could spend like 15 minutes with me to review the website that I had back then. And well, the insight is really great because then I think it doesn't matter how well you plan something. Hearing it from someone else always gives a different angle, different perspective.
Yeah,
So by all
definitely.
means, also after it's redesigned, I think it helps a lot if you listen from other people. If, let's say, what you had in mind is correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to do quality research like that. I do use Hotjar though, so when we add like a new page or a new feature on our page, I just record every session and look through them and look at, do they do what we want them to do? Are they finding the information we want them to find?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I think it's good. But at the same time, I think that, say, combining that with qualitative
Mm,
data, it's really the most powerful thing you can do, right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, interesting. And one question that I often hear from people is like, what can I do to increase the engagement of my website? Right. To which, for example, to me, it's always a bit hard to answer because that depends a lot by what you offer, what people want to see, and sometimes even the kind of products that people can find on your website. Is there an easy access to, an area where they can start to have a bit of an understanding of what's your offer. So, do you have an experience in the direction of engagement?
Engaging the audience on our website.
Yeah.
Well, we always try to engage our visitors, of course. Like adding content that is relevant to the pages that they're looking at. Like if they're looking at our page for balance sheet and cash flow, we have our webinar there, and we have an article about this topic as well, and a product sheet they can download. So we offer a lot of different soft conversions and points of engagement.
Okay, got it. So I think you probably also share with me the idea that, say, the only key to successful engagement is actually really understanding what your audience is looking for, right?
Yes.
Which means that, yeah, you should definitely have an understanding from a qualitative point of view of what is it that they want, what is it that they're looking for. Which, for example, personally, I don't know about you, but personally, I always find it hard to do it if you just do it with analytics, for example, because then
Yeah.
unless you have changed something, then you don't really know, what has happened, for example, that caused a drop in conversion or increase in conversion.
Yeah. Now, I talk a lot with like our sales team and our customer success team, and also in the product team, we have some ex-customers who are now working here,
Oh,
B2B controllers, business controllers. So I often talk with them about what our target group is looking for, what they want, if there's something new that they're looking for, or if
yeah,
there's any issues they're having that we can help them with. And then I can use that in marketing and on our website to meet that need.
right. That's very powerful, right?
Yeah.
Because usually, yeah, having previous clients working for you, it means that you can really get all the ins and outs of how
Yeah.
a previous client looks at your product.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been very useful. It's been working here for quite some time now, but it's still very good to have had someone on the other side now working with us.
Okay. Nice. So moving forward with what we were discussing before, right? How to do a website redesign, especially in the B2B segment. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
I mean, what we did, I like boiling everything down to its core and scaling down the website to make it easier to find the right information. We looked at the most important keywords for our target group, but the most important keywords where we wanna rank, and then we built our new pages on those keywords. Like for
Got it.
example, financial planning software. We really want to rank on that. So we have a page with built for that keyword.
Okay. I would actually like to take a step back to the other thing that you mentioned, which is like scaling down actually the size of the
Mhm.
website.
Yeah.
And I think that's very interesting because often, there is this idea that more is better, and a lot of
Yeah.
companies are a bit reluctant to get rid of things on their pages or even reduce the amount of pages.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, I
why
think
did you get to that decision?
I mean, it's just with going with the times. People aren't going to read through pages and pages of information. They want to know, is this for me quickly? Is this interesting for me? And you want to give them that quickly and in different offer different formats like video and product sheets or short on-demand demos, so you can offer your audience the information they're looking for uh, in the form they want it. And if you have pages, people are not going to read that. They're just going to get lost in the information and just maybe just leave the web page and go somewhere else or forget about it. So just scaling it down and having a core message that you focus on, that will make it very clear for your target group or your audience what you do and if your solution is suitable for them. And I mean, that's the goal.
Sounds good. So, in the case of a website like yours, right, which supports the conversion for a SaaS product, is there anything else that you would recommend a SaaS company to keep in mind
When building a web page?
when building a website for a SaaS?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your product and your target group, and of course, but for us, lead generation is super important. Getting
Okay.
people to book demos or make price requests or even a soft conversion just to get them into our funnel so we can reach out to them. So we really want to push that everywhere on our website, like book a demo, offer that everywhere, and trying to analyze how the conversions are going, how many of the people visiting our website are converting, and how we can continuously improve that.
Okay, sounds good. Is there, so I quite agree with you, right? So either a conversion in the form of booking a demo, or sometimes even things like start using the product already.
Yeah.
If, let's say, if the maturity of the product allows for that. So, for
Mhm.
example, I remember something that I think quite powerful that we did back then was to offer already the chance to download the SDK from the website, because then developers can start playing with that,
Oh
and
yeah.
especially in multi-level sales, that's quite an interesting foot in the door in case you want to start to have your champion within
Hmm.
the company that will buy your product. What would you say are the top three things that matter before you're able to generate conversion on your SaaS website?
Well, you of course need to have a clear message. Tell the audience what you do and why they need you. Then you of course need to have customer testimonials or reviews. We, for example, use G2, but we also have like longer customer stories or customer testimonials on our website.
Okay. Interesting. So, yeah, really, these three things you mentioned, like clear messaging, the
Mhm.
importance of reviews, like, for example, G2. And you're not the first guest that mentions that. And lastly, very solid customer stories, right? So, transformation stories of how your product helped them
Yeah.
to achieve their goals. Nice. Very interesting. I have one last question for you, was something that makes me very curious. So, based on your experience, if you would have to do the redesign of your website again, is
Mhm.
there something that you would do differently?
Mm. I actually don't think so. Our main issues with the website has actually been like technical. That we have offer, like I said, a lot of soft conversions, a lot of product sheets and webinars, and it's very heavy to load all of those things. So we have had to build a lot of landing pages on another platform. So we don't
Okay.
have to load the forms on our website to help with the page speed, so we get better quality score and ranking.
Okay. And what would you think would be the best solution for that if you could start, let's say, greenfield?
Greenfield? Oh,
Like if you could start from scratch?
that's such a hard question. I mean, because it's very technical.
Okay. It's a
Um,
very technical
so
thing.
I think you need to be very clear with what you need when you start building your website. And if
Mhm.
you have a agency, you need to be very clear with them with the most important parts of your website. Like for us, it's lead generation and our forms to bring in leads. That's a huge part of our website.
Okay.
So if the website can't support that, then it should be built in some other way.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Elisabet, do you have, as a closing remark, any last tip for people that are approaching the redesign of their websites?
Just put in the time. Look at everything thoroughly and don't just do anything. Don't rush anything. Do it thoroughly and really think about what your message is and what you do and what you want the audience to remember when they leave your website.
Okay.
Yeah,
What would you say
actually your
it's a
message.
sorry, because I there was a bit of a problem with the connection. What would you
Yeah.
say it's a realistic time frame for a redesign?
Ooh, I think that depends on of course, on how many pages you need. And yeah, for example, we also have a partner platform for our partners to log into to find like price information and stuff like that. It's been a while since we redid the website, but I think it took at least 3 months for something.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of time on it, like rewriting the text for all of our pages and new images and content for the page.
Okay, yeah, got it. Well, that's definitely something that I agree with, right? What you said is that sometimes you have a feeling that, especially when you're using a third party, like an
Mhm.
agency or freelancer, that you can just like throw it over the fence and someone else will take care of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But even if you're
I don't
using
do that.
someone else's help, it's still a lot of work in communication and
Yeah.
making sure
I mean,
that
and also you know your audience best, you know your target group best, so you know
exactly,
what they need from your website. So you need to be
yeah,
super involved and spend a lot of
yeah,
time on it.
couldn't agree with you more. Well, Elisabet, it has been a brilliant conversation. Thanks a lot for sharing so much experience. The last question, how can listeners find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. It's a hard name to spell, I think. It's Elisabet Norgård Innala. Very Swedish name. If they
Perfect.
spell it
Oh,
right, they will find me.
it will be in the yeah, in the notes of the episode.
Okay, good.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Elisabet, for participating to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.